What's up? This is Wylie the Werewolf, and tonight what I'd like to be talking to you about comparing whole numbers and decimals. All right, so the first step in when you're comparing whole numbers and decimals, you must locate the decimal. All right, it's there somewhere. It might be hiding, but in order to compare, in order to tell the difference between big numbers and small numbers and medium numbers and in between numbers, you must locate the decimal. So let's do that first. Let me go ahead and give you some numbers on here. 145, 14, 569. Let's do 1002. Now these, of course, are whole numbers, which you should understand, but they still have decimals in them, and we just have to locate those decimals. Now you have to look at each number and in between each number, and you have to tell me where are the decimals. Can you see them? No, you cannot see them. They are not there. They are hidden, and we must reveal them. All right, so if it's not in between, if it's not at this side, then it must be at the end. It must be at the end. So all of these decimals are there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take those decimals, reorder your numbers, and then you're going to be able to see quickly, and you might already know the answer to this, which one is the biggest of them all. But what I did is I lined up the decimals. And sometimes it takes a little long, but you must do it because there will be harder problems later on, and you must line up all these decimals. So this, of course, is number 1, number 2, and it just so happens I wrote it this way, but 3, and then 4. So your smallest one's 14, your largest one is 1002. Now whole numbers are a little easier than decimals, but let me give you one more whole number combined with the decimal, and you'll be able to see the difference maybe. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to locate those decimals. Now the one off to the left, the 34.5, you can already see it. There's the decimal. You are correct. This one, it's missing, but it is there, and it's at the end, 34. So then what I want you to do with these numbers is I want you to line them up. 34.5 and 34, and there's the decimal there. Now what I would recommend you doing, because later on when we're adding or subtracting whole numbers and decimals, is I would recommend you adding the 0 at the end to have the same number of decimal places at the end. So there's 1 here, so let's just throw a 0 in there. It's only fair. And then you go ahead and compare your numbers. And I would start with the biggest number. Biggest place value number is in the tens. They are the same. Then you go to the ones. They are the same. Then you go to the tenths. And I'm saying sound, the THS sound. So that way you know it's on this side, and that is an S. All right, so, and that's 5. And so what you want to do is you want to eat the bigger number. You want to eat the most pizzas. And that's where your greater than sign will be pointing. 34.5 is bigger than 34. Let me give you another example. This is strictly decimal. So let's look at these numbers here. 34.5. And remember, you want to eat the bigger number. Eat the bigger number. You got 34.05. Eating. Getting hungry. Getting hungry. All right. And so must hurry. And let's do 3.4. And let's throw another one in there. And then we must decide which one's the biggest and mediumest and smallest. There we go. And so let's do another one. Let's do 0.34. All right, so the first thing we do is we locate our decimals. And I can see them quickly because they're already labeled. But if it was at the end, if it was missing, you would know where to put it, right? Because it's invisible, but it's at the end. But these are not invisible. You could see them. That means they're not invisible. Then you're going to line up your decimals. And right now what we're doing is we're comparing them. We're seeing which one's the biggest, which one's the smallest. And so what did I say before? I recommend that you have the same number of place values on the right side of the decimal. This has 2, 2. Let's make 2. It's only fair. Let's make 2. It's only fair. And if it came down to it, you might make 3 in each column. But there's no need right now. So now what you do is you go to your biggest place value. And right now the biggest place value is the tens. So you have two numbers that are the tens. So one of these two is going to be the biggest number. Then you're going to go to your next number, which is 4. Then you're going to go to your next number, which is 5. And so this is the biggest. This is 0.5 or 5/10. And this is only 5/100. So your number 1 is right here. And there's no other 34. There's only two 34s. That would make that number 2. Now what I want you to do is compare the other two. And so you have this in your ones. And what do you have in that ones? There is a number there. Something like those numbers. And so I would recommend, if you're not sure, we can add a 0 on this side. So you have a 3 and you have a 0. This is like 34 cents or $0.34. This is like $3.40. So 3 is bigger than 0 in your ones. So this would be in your third place, and your final place would be 0.34 or 34 hundredths. So make sure you find your decimals, line up your decimals, add your zeros where needed, and then make sure that you are going from greatest to least or least to greatest, whatever the problem says. And always eat that bigger number. All right, the moon's getting ready to change. I need to be heading out. We'll see you real soon. Aroo!